Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Beyond the Bot, where we bring you the latest in AI and robotics and how it can benefit your business. I'm Tony, and I'm here today, again, not in the Blue Sky Lab, but out at Automate 2025, where we're catching up with some of the most exciting folks in the industry to see what they have to offer. I'm joined now by Jacob from Igus.
How's
Jacob,
it going,
thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, this is fun. So, Jacob, before we dive into some of the nitty gritty, can you tell me a little bit of the background of what Igus is? I hear you guys are a plastics company,
Yeah.
but I see a whole lot of robots around me.
Yeah, hey, it's how we're advancing ourselves and advancing this industry. So yes, people do know Igus as a plastics component manufacturer. We literally started all because of our owner would go around to these businesses in Germany, and he kept asking companies, give me your toughest challenges, give me your toughest challenges, I will find the solution. A company eventually did, and it was an automotive customer, and he needed to do something with this mushroom shaped bearing is what he ended up designing. And then that bearing was the first ever thing that Igus invented. And from there, we now have 18 different business units that all have their own subcategories of categories. And we have, just on our bearing side, like we have 64 famous flavors or types of plastic that we manufacture in Germany. That 64 is nowhere close to the amount that we actually have for different temperatures, tensile strengths, pressures, all that stuff. We also got into the flexible cable industry and cable management. That's where we're known for the black E-chain, those things that move like this, like on a 7th axis, or triflex, the black cabling that's on robots. That's us.
Yeah.
And then now, as you're seeing, because we know where this industry is heading, we got into automation.
And we know you guys well because at Blue Sky Robotics, we use your 7th axis linear rail on a daily basis in a lot of our solutions. And, we're grateful that you guys have been a great partner there. So can you tell me a little bit about RBTX and, kind of what that service offering is?
Yeah, so RBTX is basically our automation marketplace. It came because we have this unit within Igus, LCA, so low cost automation, where we started designing the Rebel, we designed a gantry and a Delta robot, all using Igus components to get people started in automation. Because if people can't get started in automation, they can't grow in automation. So that's LCA, low cost automation. The way that you got this purple in the RBTX brand is that we developed a marketplace because we started figuring out there were solutions that customers still needed that our robots couldn't always fill. They weren't the best use for. That's just flat out fact. So how do we fix that? We start distributing other people's robots, other people's products, so we can still deliver a solution to the customer. So we have 500 different solutions that are all under 18K, so 18,000. That's all on our website just for people to browse through, check them out. You can watch videos on a solution that's at an actual customer. You can see the products they use, the price it was, all very transparent way of doing business.
You guys power a lot of different solutions in a lot of different types of industries. Yeah. You really run the gambit of automation. Can you tell me a little bit about what are some of the barriers to adoption that you're seeing in the marketplace?
I mean, a lot of our customers are really under that 200,000 benchmark project number, because we're hitting those people because a lot of integrators won't even touch a project that's under 200K. They have their overhead, they have things they need to take care of. So we're trying to focus on those small to medium sized businesses. And so when you're working with businesses like that, a lot of the time is a knowledge thing. They really may not know about any of this stuff that they're seeing. They just know they need it, or somebody told them that they need it, like they need automation. So you're working against this knowledge gap. You're working against people that may have not used the right things the past 10 to 15 years, and you're now trying to tell them, hey, that's really not how that should have been, and that's not how we're going to do it. You're working against that a little bit. And then also just a product thing. You're making sure that you're not just supplying the next latest and greatest widget just because that company says it's the next latest and greatest widget.
Right.
A lot of that really ties into making sure you get not just a solution, but the solution to the customer. And I think those are a lot of barriers that hold us back because we're trying to make sure we overcome that for our customer, but also it's something that we're gonna have to make sure we walk through with the customer so they don't end up getting screwed in the end.
So in a lot of ways, we talk about this idea that the tool is not necessarily the skill. So you're talking about a knowledge gap. It strikes me that there's kind of two angles to that. There's knowledge of what's possible and then knowledge of how to execute, right? And so, for folks that are maybe interested in automation but not robotics experts, how do you advise them to kind of find an integration partner, or we call them like an automation ally to kind of help bridge that gap?
Let's really focus on the companies that are developing resources for you that aren't centralized around their products. I mean, if you're going all in with one company, then obviously devote all of your time, your resources to learning every little bit about that technology from that one manufacturer. So
Yeah.
if you're finding those companies that are actually giving you industry resources and industry knowledge, focus on them because they care about the growth of the industry overall, whether or not you use their product. And so I would lean heavier into them and those type of whatever you want to call them, distributors, partners, the term you use as well. Focus on those people because they actually care about the growth of the industry.
Now, what are some of the trends that you're seeing in the broader industry? Automation generally, and even kind of specific industries inside of that.
A big one, Cobalt World
Mhm.
was shaken up recently because they changed the term. I mean, it's always been like this, but on paper, a robot was considered safe or collaborative because of certain features that it had on it. And it's now a robot is only considered safe. You can't consider a robot safe. You have to consider that if the cell is safe.
Mm.
That's a big thing because a lot of companies were banking on, oh, like we are the cobot manufacturer or this or that, or look at this safe robot. It's really always been about making sure that the cell is safe for the customer. But that's going to shake up the cobot industry a little bit. There's been a lot of obviously reshoring or onshoring activities going on.
Well, let's dive into that. How has that impacted, Igus's business, and
Oh, geez.
how are you seeing the impact of that play out?
I mean, we just unveiled 6 months ago 100 minimum that we have running right now, 100 injection molding machines in Rhode Island. So just so we can make our parts faster and here in the States for our customers.
And for context, that's up from what? How much of an increase is
From
that?
zero. It's from having no manufacturing here in the United States when it comes to our products to now being able to manufacture tons of our bearings and our e-chain, our cable management, making that here in the States. We're also diving into the dry spin technology. It's another one of our business units, and that's also going to be done in the States soon as well. And that's just maybe phase like 3 of what we're planning to keep growing and growing in Rhode Island to bring more manufacturing to our customer base, just so we can supply things cheaper and faster.
Wow.
And that's just what we're doing. That's not even how we're better supplying our customers that are also moving their manufacturing processes here. They're needing automation to get those jobs done. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, certainly an interesting topic to keep an eye on. But Jacob, we both know this industry is changing very rapidly. There's huge advancements in the world of AI and robotics that are enabling things that even a year or 2 years ago seemed impossible. And there's more folks than ever interested in exploring this world, and our listeners on Beyond the Bot know that they can always turn to Beyond the Bot for a little bit of insight into how to get started. How are you guys helping folks get educated about what's possible and get started?
I mean, we literally just at this show this year, we unveiled our Axis community, which is a collaborative automation community. We started that because my thing is I want to provide more to the industry and to our customers than just a product. I want to provide something that can actually help them grow in their career, help them grow their business. That's where Axis came in. That's how Axis started. We've been developing it for the past 6 months. We just released it with tons of companies like Kawasaki, Item, Flexline Automation. They all helped us launch it. It was a great week. And the thing that we're trying to focus on is we want a hub that you go to for solutions when you're working on projects for your customers. Before you hit Google, before you start filtering through AI fluff, come to Axis. Oh, did you check Axis yet? Make sure you check Axis on that before you move on. We want to be that, as well as we have an automation academy there called the RBTX Academy. That is not just focused on Igus products. The RBTX community, RBTX Academy, because it's a platform, RBTX is a marketplace. RBTX Academy is about utilizing our partners' curriculum, showing it there, but then also really honing in on what it means to have a business in this industry. Nobody's making videos on how do I become an application engineer?
Right.
What's an end-of-arm tool?
Yeah.
We know, but a lot of people don't. What's an end-of-arm tool? What are the types of kinematics? How do the kinematics on robots work? There's a big difference between the kinematics of a Delta robot and a gantry robot. But if you don't know that, you don't know that.
Yeah.
And so RBTX Academy is all kinds of those classes. We have 16 videos live right now. We also have just a community activity focused area where we're doing live streams. We had incentive programs where you can win a training trip to Rhode Island. There's the networking. We have a 24-hour chat where you can ask any question and get an answer. I keep telling people it's like we took the best of Reddit, LinkedIn, YouTube, and put it into one.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. How do folks get signed up? How do you get engaged in that platform?
Now that it's the public launch, you can type in Axis, so like a robot axis or machine axis, AXIS-community.com.
Yeah,
that takes you right there, and then you can already see the homepage. So we leave it open for you. It's all free, but we leave it open, and then you can make your account there. And then once you make your account, everything gets opened up to you, and
it's all
begins.
free.
Yeah.
I assumed this was a $100,000 a month service.
No,
there's quite a lot of value there.
We're working into RBTX Academy into growing into a bigger and bigger thing. And we believe it's in 3 phases. 1, everything at this tier is free. Everything we always do with this tier is free. Tier 2, you have some paid courses that you can buy if you want, just because of the resources we put into it. 3 is in-person trainings, which you would obviously have to pay for because you're going into a facility with 30 to 50 robots.
Right.
That's something you probably have to pay for. But other than that, no, Axis is always going to be that type of free tier with add-on options if you want. But here, everybody's getting the same information.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 last questions for you. One, what is, we've got a lot of robots around us. If you had to spotlight one thing in this kind of display here that you're most excited about, what would it be?
I mean, I'm really liking, so we have this cobot bench right here, and we're showing off Farino, our robot, and then a Dobot or a Dubot. I'm really liking the Dobot, the fact that it has this capacitive sensing where usually cobots have to hit you to stop. This one, you can put your hand up to it. At this distance, the robot's here and it'll stop.
Wow.
I think that's pretty sick. I just like having the cobot bench in general. That's probably mine.
And my last question for you, what's your message for folks out there that, are maybe watching, they're thinking about robotics, they're interested in getting, involved in, automation. What's your message to them?
It's never been easier. It's never been easier to find the information you need, to find the solutions that you're looking for that relate to your business, but it takes you getting after it. Focus on, like I said, those companies that want to help the industry grow, because if that company wants to help the industry grow, they want to help your business grow. They don't care whether you do it with their products or without their products. Focus on that. It's never been easier than right now to get started, and it's only going to get harder, because the longer you wait, the more people that get ahead, and the more people that get ahead, the less information you're going to have.
Okay, I got one last question for you. One of the things that we like to do is kind of debunk common automation myths.
Okay.
Are there any automation myths that you hear on a regular basis that you'd like to debunk for us right now? And I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay. So I mean, it's really not an automation one specific because it's also manufacturing. But the fact that people still love to say, I hate hearing about the skills gap. And I've talked about this on many platforms, many podcasts. I've gotten some heck for it. But the reason I say this, I hate talking about the skills gap because we're still talking about it as in these students and these kids don't care about our industry or don't know about it. I've been a first robotics judge for this last 7 years of my life. I travel to universities and high schools all around this country. These kids want it. These kids have what it takes to get after it, and they are getting after it. And a lot of businesses in our industry just aren't paying attention to what they have in their backyard. Really start looking at what's going on in your community, in your region, community-wise. If you're trying to grow your pipeline and want to invest in these kids, they're ready. And if they don't come to us because we're not there for them, they're going to go to tech. They're going to go start some other business. They're going to go other places. So that's I'm already all fired up about it already. But I mean, kids do care about this industry. And I'll give it to you though. There's a lot of programs out there that aren't giving them the resources, that aren't giving them the knowledge. I'm not saying that's not there. I'm just saying, why are we not paying attention to the kids that are ready, that do want this, that are in it every day and having fun? Focus on them, nurture them, get them in your facilities. And it is worth your time. It's not just another chore. And just because they're kids doesn't mean they don't matter.
Well, Jacob, we really appreciate you taking time for this.
Shut me down, baby. I'll keep going.
Yeah, but we're really grateful for all the work that you do with Igus and your incredible team, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again in the very
Nice.
near future.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.